brief minutes that we'll speak, inshallah. We'll start right now with the talk in regards to what will be beneficial for our communities, improving our situation, and a lot of the things that are detrimental trials that are taking place in our communities and our society, and trying to advise one another with good, based upon what Allah Ta'ala says in His book. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. We know Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has mentioned in His book about from the shortest surah in the book of Allah Jalla Sha'nu, that by the time that man is in evident clear loss, except those who have Iman. When they mean Iman, meaning the proper Aqidah, the proper minhaj, and the proper methodology, and protecting it and fortifying that from anything that corrupts it, and from the falah, or the prosperity, success of everyone surviving in this world as well as in the hereafter, and in the grave, is also advising one another with the truth, with integrity, and also respect, and also softness and kindness. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ, and also advising one another to be patient for what they endure in this life of different things that occur. So based upon that ayah, we'll start with the next talk in regards to certain affairs that take place in our community, which will help us. Did they calm down? They calm out there? First we'll start. I say, إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. Brothers, sisters, are they still talking? We asked them if they could calm down a bit. As I said in the khutbah al-Eid, and I told sisters about this. Oh, it's not on. Oh, it's not on. It's yours? I don't think it's on. But look. Sisters, I ask again, due to the fact of the talking, and it's like, when I don't want to come off offensive to our sisters, but when are we going to come to talk to stop talking so much? Like, this has been going on for decades. Like, when can we just calm down a bit and just be be attentive and talk? And the talking, just put it to the side for a minute. I think we talk enough each day, especially our brothers and our sisters. We run our mouths all day. Do you know there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ says, "Man sakata naja." Whoever's silent will succeed. Whoever's silent will prosper. Man sakata naja. The Prophet ﷺ gave 3 words. Man sakata naja. Whoever's silent, they will succeed. So remember these ahadith and the reminders that I'm saying is not from myself, it's from the book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And when the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, firstly you go back to the book of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, "Man a'rada an dhikri fa inna lahu ma'ishatan danka." Whoever turns away from my remembrance, he will have a hard life. I think everyone in here is being tested in their lives some type of way with something, which is making us bitter. So just to calm down and listen to something of benefit that might, inshallah, change the direction or the course of your life the way it's going. Because I'm sure that we need to listen to something that might inspire us or change our lives or uplift us from the different social ills that are taking in our lives or taking place in our lives individually. You still talking? So I'll start by saying again, إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها. I said as you know. Think. I was just talking for 10 minutes. Nobody heard me. No, my wife said nobody hears me. Bismillah. Can I be heard? Can the sisters hear me on that side?
Yes.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
In regards to, if we ask the sisters kindly again, if they can remain silent and would turn their phones down. Turn their phones down and make it silent. Or just put the volume of the phone down. And if we can we just stop the talking momentarily and return back to our places just to listen attentively, so we can attain some type of benefit according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent down in His book, Surah Al-Asr, وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. Verily all of us are in loss, except those who believe and advise one another with the truth, with kindness and integrity and gentleness and softness, and they also advise one another with patience. So we advise one another with patience in regards to a sabr, what we need so we can pass by this world, which, like we said, all of us, I think, we're being tested in some type of way, whether it be individually in our lives or in our children or in our wealth or what have you. And this is the sunnah of Allah Ta'ala in His creation, until to make distinct who's from the khabith from the tayyib, those who are the wicked from those who are the wholesome, and those who are upright and righteous. So inshallah, bi'idhnillah, again we ask the sisters to kindly to listen just for a couple of minutes, as I'm not going to speak long. It's not going to be long-winded. But in regards to what is taking place in our communities, we have 1,000 lectures about marriage and marriage and marriage and marriage. So I like to kind of come at a different angle from what people are usually accustomed to listening to. Like I said, even myself, I'm kind of fed up with a little bit of marriage lectures. I'm very frank and very straightforward. Even myself, I'm tired of it. I've been listening to it for 20 years, if not more. Marriage, divorce, marriage, divorce, marriage. It's giving me a headache. So I like to even come from another angle to try to speak so it can be a little bit more interesting rather than what we're accustomed to listening or acclimated to hearing in every lecture. I'm sure everybody has heard the lecture. Allah Ta'ala says in His book, this ayah, which should supposed to be enough for us, but obviously due to what we hear, it was taking places of all different types of chaos, especially in people's marriages and families, that their people are not taking heed to that fact. It's like it's not enough. It's like what Allah has revealed in His messenger. Still, we have to try to now come with some more emphasis and more clarity to try to get everybody back on track. So in regards to what we said, Ya ma'ashal ikhwa, or al-akhawat, I wanted to take a different angle in our discussion. As I want to remind everyone what I spoke about in the khutbah al-Eid, as everything that's taking place around us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has informed us that it's going to take place. For example, people being negative and wanting drama, and being negative and being bitter and looking for negative things in everything and just being dramatic, and people just being harsh, and people just talking to people with no respect. Allah Ta'ala has talked and informed about all these affairs. And like we said, we don't want to be amongst those who Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala gave ease to, and as a result of us being ungrateful and being drama or dramatic, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala took the bounties and His blessings away, which happened to the people of Saba. As we know what happened to the people of Saba, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala gave them so many blessings and so many bounties. He gave them good land, He gave them fresh water, He gave them good vegetation and crops and agriculture, all those different affairs in which the human being loves. He facilitated for them good air, to the point, if you look in the narrations of what happened in Surah Saba with the people, you'll find in the ayah where Allah Ta'ala says in that ayah, لَقَدْ كَانَ لِسَبَإٍ فِي مَسْكَنِهِمْ آيَةٌ جنتان عن يمين والشمال كلوا من رزق ربكم واشكروا له بلدة طيبة ورب غفور فأعرضوا فأرسلنا عليهم سيل العلم وبدلناهم بجنتيهم جنتين ذواتي أكل خمط وأثل وشيء من سدر قليل ذلك جزيناهم بما كفروا وهل نجازي إلا الكفور. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about the city in Sabah where people were basically dramatic. They love drama. They love being negative. They love looking for negativity. They didn't like what Allah gave them of ease and facilitated for them of affairs as far as food and the different bounties He bestowed upon them. Until, like we said in the ayat, Allah ta'ala talked about how so much blessings He gave to them, of so much ease and enjoyment and delight and opulence of everything the people enjoy, to the point not only did Allah give them what they want as far as good air, vegetation, agriculture, everything that you want of good consumption of food, but He also gave them likewise to the point where even the animals and the insects and the scorpions and the snakes wouldn't even bite the people, or they would not attack the people, due to the fact of the high level of blessing that Allah gave them, and to the point where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala facilitated for them in their travels. They didn't even have to look for anywhere to sleep. They had to take along with them their zad, meaning the food that they would take along with them in their travels. They didn't need any of that. All they had to do was just leave out their city. Food would be at their avail, and likewise all the cities and the villages were connected with each other, to the point they did not have to worry about whether or not where they were going to sleep or where they were going to obtain their sustenance or their food and their travels. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them also another ni'mah, which was having the ni'mah, the blessing of security, meaning they were not in fear of someone trying to take their life, take their children's life. But you know what? This wasn't enough for them. You know what they wanted? They wanted the drama. They said no. They made a dua. If you go back to the ayah Surah Sabah, they made a dua to Allah. Give us difficulty. This is what we want. He says, "Oh, Rabbana ba'id bayna asfarina wa zalamu anfusahum." That's the ayah. They said, "Oh our Lord, make the distances and the travels far." Meaning, we want drama. Give it to us. And Allah said they oppressed themselves. And to the point where Allah Ta'ala says, وَجَعَلْنَاهُمْ أَحَادِيث وَمَزَّقْنَاهُمْ كُلَّ مُمَزَّقٍ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِكُلِّ صَبَّارٍ شَكُورٍ. And then said in the other ayah, part of the ayah, He says, we made them as narrations and stories, so people to take an exhortation from it, take a lesson. You want drama, you ask for Allah, give it to you, then you really cry, and then you really going to be depressed. And a lot of people don't realize the different ni'am that they're in until Allah snatches these affairs away. There's no more students of knowledge to give and disseminate proper knowledge. There's no more left of Salafi Masjid so you can go to anymore. All these affairs disappear. What you going to do? There's nowhere we can take our children to learn their proper religion. There's no Muslims even around. Everybody, Allah might have changed their heart and set them astray. Because that is another way that a ni'mah can be snatched. Because I've seen different faces change all the time since the 90s when I took Shahada. Back in 1995, I've seen hundreds and hundreds of faces change. Meaning Allah sent them astray. And then Allah put someone else in their place. And this can happen to any one of us, as all of us are expendable. None of us are guaranteed guidance tomorrow. So we need to be grateful for what we have. And stop looking for the negativity in everything around us. Everything, we always looking for something bad to say about it. Always gritting people and looking at them funny and finding out, wow, what are you looking at me for? And it's the negativity which came as a result of it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala snatched away the bounties that they were in and gave them the drama they wanted. And that's in the ayah Surah Sabah. All you have to go back is to the ayah. It's a whole surah on it. It's called Surah Sabah. Go back to it. Read the story. You'll find what Ibn Kathir mentioned about what happened to them, and Allah gave them destruction because of their ungratefulness. So it's a shame that I have to give this type of muqaddimah, as they say, or this introduction before we start talk about, so we could get everyone on one page before we start talking about what we wanted to speak about today or discuss today. So again, like I said, even though, even myself, I have headaches from all the drama as far as in our marriages. And I talked about, and I explicitly, and I expounded and gave tremendous detail yesterday in the khutbah in Jumu'ah, how we are, how we love negativity, how our brothers and people make excuses for why they not doing certain things, as far as responsibility for taking on our communities and making them better by a lot of us sacrificing, which we don't do. A lot of us make our wants our needs, and they switch it up to busy themselves with something that's not, to busy themselves with wasting their money and wasting their time on certain things when they can be doing something way more important and way more beneficial for their religion in preparation for death. And I remind myself constantly, because I need to remind myself that one day myself will be under the dirt in the grave by myself alone. My body is going to be thrown under the dirt, and people are going to pile heavy loads of dirt on top of me, and then it's just going to be me. Then it's just going to be me and my deeds. It's just going to be myself and Allah and the angels. And for that reason, in preparation for that, we have to remind ourselves of that, and also make sure that we're living correctly, and we're living in a manner that's pleasing to Allah, and that we're not neglecting our children and neglecting affairs that's way more important than what we think what we're doing right now is important. I talked about yesterday about teaching a person from the new Shahada, people that just embrace Islam, teaching them how to pray, teaching them how to make wudu properly, teaching a woman that just became Muslim how to pray, how to make wudu properly, how to pray, wear proper hijab, how to listen to her problems, because maybe there's something that's hindering her from wearing proper hijab, being kind, being generous, having integrity, having respect. All these things that seem like it's hard for us to do. But Shaitan, this is what he does to us, makes us harsh, negative people, whereas he goes to the people of innovation and the people of desires and decorates their behavior and decorates their etiquette. So the people cannot embrace the truth based upon the fact that Shaitan put pulled the wool over the eyes of the people of the truth, where he encourages them to be harsh, encourages them to be negative, encourages you to grit on your sister and roll your eyes and suck your teeth and move your head and cluck your head and all these other things that turn people off, and it makes the people go away from the religion. And you will, maybe Allah knows best, you will come on the day of resurrection, being a person that as a result of your behavior, someone went to another deviant methodology because you scared them away, and you might be held accountable for that. For all these things, we need to bring ourselves to account, to better ourselves, to allow us to teach the people, and especially new shahadas that become a Muslim every single day. And we never know, these could be the people who are replacing us. We're on it one day, then Allah sends our heart astray, and may Allah keep our hearts firm. Allah sends our hearts astray and then put these new people in our place, because maybe they will be ones who are truly grateful, and they'll be ones to embrace and take on this responsibility to make sure people are being guided properly without being a reason for deterring the people from embracing the truth. Rather, they will be someone of guiding them properly. But for that reason, we busy ourselves with what we think is important, and we busy ourselves with what's considered a want, not a need. If you listen to a lot of people and then listen to their things that are taking place in their lives individually, you'll find that the things that they chase after are just mere wants. It's not needs. And they're not ready to sacrifice for the betterment of their communities and the betterment of the people and the betterment of their children. So I'll start off by saying that, and then now I have to speak about what we want to talk about today. So I start off by saying, in our community, we often focus on the concept of love and marriage. I remember I talked about in the khutbah a couple of weeks ago, last Friday rather. I remember I said a statement, if people will listen, I said, everything is hard work in order to have something established or something positive. You have to put hard work in it. And I remember I was said to the brothers and sisters, you will ask a person, how was you married for 40 years or 50 years? How was y'all married so long? And I think I said in the khutbah, hard work. We put hard work into our marriage. Meaning, and I'm going to break down the meaning of that statement. Hard work. Meaning sacrificing, bending, not being petty, not being tit for tat. Those things have to be alleviated in order for marriages to work, or for relationships, not just marriages, but relationships even with our own brothers with brothers, sisters with sisters, mothers with fathers, mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers. Everything has to take some type of bending, and not being petty and not being tit for tat and trying to bend each other where they meet someone in the middle. It has to be a middle ground somewhere, in which a lot of us don't want to meet. And as a result of it, we build a bunch of broken families. That's what you see now in our communities. You see an abundance of broken families. That's what we are accomplishing in our societies. Building an abundance of broken families. That's what you see. And people keep trying to find the answer. Well, what's the answer? What do we do? And I said to everyone, even including myself, I'm not exempt for what I'm speaking about now. You find that a lot of us come from these broken backgrounds. Even though we come to Salafiyah, we still carry a lot of those concepts of what we think relationships are into Islam and into Salafiyah. We think, I used to see my mother and father curse at each other. They were drama. I see my father drinking. I see my father listening to jazz music. I see my father beating up my mom. That's how a man's supposed to treat a woman. And we bring the same concept into Islam with us. And that's what we look for. And we also try to bring it out of the person. If the man don't try to bring it out the woman tries to bring out the man, because they think that's a functional home, which we want to discuss in a minute, inshallah. And where we have to rid ourselves of this type of behavior if we want to preserve our families. And get back to what I said, the key point, initially what I said at the beginning. How did your marriage survive for people who's been married 20, 40 years? What did you do? And I said, hard work. Hard work. What is hard work? I'm going to break it down in a minute. I'm going to break it down in a minute to everyone what hard work is in order to have a 40-year marriage, 50-year marriage, and still be happy on top of that. Not just stay at the end, we was just married, but in the end, in the back of the mind, the person is like, man, if I could have just did away with that woman. I'm talking about 50 years and still happy with your spouse. How do you attain that? How does a woman really grasp a love and respect out of a man? Being drama, driving him crazy, being a headache. Where's my rights? It's the time. It's family time. Sister, I was at the masjid trying to fix the bathroom. Well, it's my time. Not realizing this is turning a man off. And this is the type of sacrifices and what I'm talking about. Why would this type of sacrifice we're not trying to make? Because we keep going tit for tat, being petty, and not sacrificing for our communities. The man trying to fix a bathroom, you want family time. It's family time. It's my time. All right, sister, now sacrifice. This is the sacrifice we're talking about. See, we're not ready yet. These are the sacrifices that our sisters are not ready for. And we try to get the message to our brothers. You need these type of women that's dramatic. You need to know when to hold them and fold them. So the cycle can be broken so they can start saying, maybe it's me. I need to improve on myself. Because these are the situations that's holding the communities back. And these are the situations why it's not progressing. So what I'm saying is, brothers and sisters, hard work in marriages is what we're going to discuss right now. Hard work. How do you stay married 40 years, 50 years and still be happy? Hard work. What is the hard work? Listen. For what we say, we often focus on concept of love and marriage. We always focusing on love and marriage. Love. I want to be in love. I just want to be in love. I want love. I want the man that. And we'll talk about the fantasy concept type of love that people chasing after that's really, truly, in actuality, no reality to it. This flawless relationships that we chase is like a movie fantasy, which we'll talk about. We also embrace and focus on the concept of love and marriage. We do not put emphasis on building strong foundation to support the marriage, thus helping our communities grow stronger. Establishing Salafiyah correctly with patience and mercy. Establishing Salafiyah correctly with patience, with mercy and love and respect and integrity and good treatment and good etiquette and exemplary character. All these affairs, no doubt, we know it will help build stronger relationships, stronger families, and ultimately a greater Muslim community. A lot of us, when we seek marriage, we have to be honest, realistically, we have to be realistic. And we have to also be eager to get to know the person, to build something great. See, a lot of the situations in our communities is built upon, our relationships are built upon lust. That's a problem. A lot of our relationships is built upon lust and satisfying our physical desires. Sister, as soon as this sister get married, she pregnant the first night of the marriage. Bang. You don't even know the brother. You don't even know if that man is going to be a good father to the children. You don't know if he's a responsible person. All I know is that the man is handsome and I'm ready to get it in. That's their concept. So when we seek marriage, we have to be honest, realistic, and eager to get to know the other person and build something greater than just mere lust and desires. Because brothers and sisters, we have to realize, especially to our sisters, desires are going to die down. You have to look for something else to let a man be intrigued by you other than your body, because your body eventually is not going to be, and I know a lot of sisters in this crowd know exactly what I'm talking about. Your body how it was when you was in your teenagers, not how your body will be in your 30s and your 40s. Your body how it is in your 20s is not how it's going to be in your 30s and 40s and 50s. And so on and so forth until you get 60 or 70, unless you're doing some great good diet, doing a lot of praying and fasting, and doing things to preserve it. But other than that, your body is not going to be the same. So you have to find another element to intrigue a man, to keep him intrigued and engaged, to have something greater, to make you stand out, to make him want to still be in love with you, even though the desires went away. Because they're going to go away eventually. The desires are going to die down. And we say this to our younger youth sisters who that's all that's going on in their minds, their hormones jumping around, and I just want to, I just want a man. And then you have to tell them eventually your desires are going to die. You have to give a man something else to make you stand out, to make him intrigued, to want to still love you and respect you. And it can't be just be something physical. It has to be something greater than that, and which a lot of women ignore these days. Wallahi, I'm going to break down. This is the angle that I'm coming at with the people. This is the angle that women can even the women, and I'm sure women can even vouch for this. Women that have had a lot of men in their lives, who they truly love and Allah knows best, is men that had their mind on a twist. They got in their mind, had their mind stimulated, had them on a twist, because the mind is something greater. When you get in the mind of a person, and this is how I'm trying to tell everyone, with the sisters too, don't just get into the physical aspect. Get into the mind of the man. Get into his religion. And that's what we're going to explain, inshallah. Don't worry. So what we say is, when we seek marriage, we have to be honest, realistic, and eager to get to know another person, to build something greater. This can't be established with instant gratification that we are used to having in this world of technology these days. So rather, it requires research, investigation, patience, and sometimes you might be disappointed. It happens. And I keep telling people in different lectures over and over again, even when I was younger, when I was in my teens, and I became Muslim when I was 17. Even in my experience, I had difficulty in finding a proper spouse. And I keep saying, why I can't find a good woman? Why everybody married and I can't find a good spouse? Why is it hard for me? And wallahi, sisters, I'm telling you, you never know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is protecting you from affairs from happening, and Allah keeps putting more evil away from you, and you can't then 10 years later you wake up, you be like, Dad, all those women that I wanted to marry and all those brothers that I knew that was married, all are divorced. And they all relationship didn't work out, and some of them left the fold of Islam. Dang, I'm glad I dodged the bullet on that. But at the time when it's going on in your life, you can't understand, why is it so hard? Why is Allah testing? Why can't I find something? What's the problem? We have to take into consideration the quality of people are low these days, and maybe Allah wants something good for you. And it's keeping it and holding it back for you for the right time. When you're ready, and maybe when she's ready, or when he's ready, then bring you together. So sometimes to establish, we want instant gratification. Especially in this world of technology now that facilitates and puts everything in front of our faces. Rather, it requires research, patience, and sometimes disappointment. So when we embrace this, then we have the first step. The reality in this country that we live in, brothers and sisters, this is the reality. We have to say what it is. It is what it is. The reality of the person that the majority of us, not all of us, the majority of us, that when we want to marry, may not always be the best person for you. Or simply may not want to marry you if you get to sit down. They just probably Allah didn't put in their heart to want to marry you. Or vice versa. Or likewise, early on in the marriage, you might find that you're incompatible. And a lot of us, and some of our brothers and sisters, they'll just remain in a relationship because the intimacy is good, and that's it. But as far as compatibility mentally, or maybe religiously, they're not good for each other. And this happens. You'll find a woman that and you find out, well, they all have nothing in common. But all she's thinking about is the intimacy. The intimacy is good. You can't build a family off of that, which we'll discuss, inshallah. You'll find early on in the marriage you're incompatible. These things happen. So it takes patience to move forward and go on to the next level. Using these lessons to establish strong foundation in a greater community. This is what I'm focusing on, brothers and sisters, especially the sisters. Making a mental connection is important in building a strong foundation in marriage. A mental connection, a religious connection. We have even certain statements from the Salaf where you'll find that they used to test the woman before they married them. Ask them questions to see if they're compatible and they're on the same page. You'll find this in certain athar. And I don't have a lot of time to talk. I don't have a lot of time to speak, so I might just suffice with one. There was someone from the Salaf, his name was Riyah ibn Amr al-Qaysi. He was from أحد الصالحين الكبار في هذه الأمة. تزوج رياح امرأة فأراد أن يختبرها. Look, Riyah ibn Amr al-Qaysi, he was one of the righteous from the prominent in the Ummah, that he married a woman and he wanted to test her. So he didn't jump to the intimacy. He wanted to see he was compatible with her, and he wanted to test the religion and test her. He says, فأراد أن يختبرها فلما كان الليل تناوم لها فقامت هذه المرأة الصالحة تصلي حتى مضى ربع الليل ثم نادته قم يا رياح فقال أقوم إن شاء الله. Listen to Riyah. So he said he wanted to test her. So listen to this. He said there was during the night, he was acting as if he was asleep, but he wasn't. He says تناوم لها. So he was acting like as if he was asleep, but he wasn't. So he wanted to test her. So this righteous woman came, stood up, started to pray. He says until fourth of the night elapsed and went by. Then she called, stand up, ya Riyah, qum ya Riyah. So Riyah said, أقوم إن شاء الله. I'll stand up إن شاء الله. فقامت الربع الثاني ثم نادتهم قم يا رياح قم فقال أقوم ولم يقم. So then a second fourth went through the night. She called him out. Stand up, Riyah. So he stood up again. Oh no, then he said, I'll stand up. And he didn't stand up, but he was playing the role he's pretending still. I'll stand up. So he still remained asleep. He acted as if he was still asleep. وَلَمْ يَقُمْ فَقَامَتَ الرُّبَعِ الثَّالِث. So the third part went by. Then she called out again. قُمْ يَا رِيَاحْ قُمْ يَا رِيَاحْ فَقَالَ أقوم وَلَمْ يَقُمْ. Stand up, Riyah. He said, I'll stand up. He didn't stand up. Then she said again. فقالت يا رياح مضى الليل وعسكر المحسنون وأنت نائم. Say, يا رياح, the whole night's thrown by. It says, and those who are upon excellence in their religion are the people that's up doing what they're supposed to do, meaning that they're doing their nightly prayer with. He says, you're asleep. So this is what the woman said. ليت شعري من غرني بك يا رياح من غرني بك. قال وقامت الربع الباقي. So then she said, I wish I would have seen the person who fooled me by you. Ya Riyah. Who tricked me and fooled me by you? So so then she stood in the fourth part and she continued. But he was acting as if he was asleep to test her, to see where the religion or her mental state was. and her religion, in her the state of her religion. All right, fail. So, in regards to what, this is just one example. There's a lot of examples of which I don't have a lot of time to talk. The point of the matter is trying to find someone in their mental state and their compatibility as far as jumping into the desires first. But before I jump into that, how do we build a strong foundation in our relationships? How do we start it off? How do we lay down the groundwork? Is what we have to ask ourselves. So what comes after that, our relationships will be strong. For number one, for example, there's nothing wrong with sharing your strengths and your weaknesses, or your likes or your dislikes, setting realistic boundaries and goals, and honesty. For example, I'm going to give an example of this, and this happens in a lot of our relationships. Example, your wife likes to go to the market at 6 o'clock in the morning. Let's just say, for example, it's a habit. You had it since before you were married. You like to, and no, let's just say that your husband likes to go to the market at 6 o'clock in the morning, reverse it. 6 o'clock in the morning. You like to sleep until noon. What should you do? Now, what is a person supposed to do? The answer is we need to examine. Go back to what I just said in the beginning of the lecture. Hard work in our relationships. This is the hard work that I'm speaking about right now, sisters. What's the hard work to try to now bend and try to accommodate each other in this regard? What you should do, you should accommodate one another by bending. Go at 10. Meet each other halfway. Go at 10 a.m. It's a sacrifice for both of you. Hard work in your relationship. It's a sacrifice for both of you. And it exhibits mercy and softness. That is better than saying, like a lot of women, they will probably, for a lot of people, are selfish and tit for tat. This is what they'll say. He should man up. Get up. You need to man up. They'll say it rudely. You need to man up. Or the husband will say, on the husband aspect, he'll say, well, she just simply needs to obey me. Because I said I'm her husband, she just needs to be obedient. This technique causes tension. The wife doesn't want to feel like a child, and the husband doesn't want to be insulted. So taking the high road and meeting each other half in the middle is better. And which of us are not in need of a good deed and wanting to be amongst those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this book, فَإِذَا الَّذِي بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُ عَدَاوَةٌ كَأَنَّهُ وَلِيٌّ حَمِيمٌ let me go back to the other part of that. إِدْفَعْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. Repel with that which is better, meaning take the high road. Don't combat ignorance with ignorance, or try to sit down with your husband in a soft, respectable manner and say, babe, let's meet each other halfway so we can accommodate both of us. So a woman should not have for example, our sister shouldn't say, you just need to man up and be a man. Take me when I need to go. And the one man shouldn't say, well, you just simply just need to obey me. Meet each other halfway. Accommodate both. Show mercy. Benefit to both of each other. Benefit both sides. And this will be beneficial for this life and the hereafter. And this is part of the hard work that we're talking about to preserve these relationships. And a man, when he sees that you're trying to accommodate, meet him halfway in the middle, he's going to respect you. He's going to have love. My wife has mercy on me. She's not a pain and irritate me all the time. He'll start to love her more and respect her more. Because she's showing mercy to him, will show mercy to her. Another example. And this realistically happens. This takes place in our communities. And I'm being real because we have to be realistic. Because we have to come with realistic examples to know how to deal with them when they happen. You walk in the house after a hard day of work, and your wife is cleaning the house, and she's blasting some rapper, Jay-Z. And I heard from my family now, because I keep my ear to the street, some rappers named Uzi now. Uzi? Are you serious? Uzi. So blasting these rappers, blasting it up, listening to Mary J. Blige, they listening to Beyonce, blasting it. And this realistically happens. Blasting it. Brother walk in. What do you do? So what does a person do? The man said now, A'udhu billah, sister, you astaghfirullah, you fasiq, I knew it was something about you was hiding. Nah, that's the usual reaction of our people, dramatic. because we love the drama. We love to holler, scream, go ballistic, exhibit unacceptable behavior, be offensive. That's how we are. Or do what Islam tells us to do. Turn the music off. Or we say, no. We'll say turn that D-A-M-N. Turn that darn music down to the end of it. No, a person turns the music off, sits her down. Sister, do you know that music is haram? Because a lot of our people are embracing Islam, they truly don't know. Especially the new shahadas. And this is what comes in the problem of not educating them. So people have to figure it out themselves. So this is the best they're working with. So you sit down with her, present to her the evidences and proof. With integrity, respect, being calm, laid back, collective. Showing that I feel displeased with her actions, and let her know the consequences if she goes against Allah and His Messenger. And let her know that you are aware that, and you're helping her be aware that, and you're helping her be aware that she might become weak again. Because if a woman is doing this, more than likely she's been doing it. Or if a man has been doing this, it's more than likely he's been doing it. This just didn't happen overnight. Things, and as you'll find, this goes on to a lot of affairs that carries on in our lives with certain things. Even when ulama initiate refutations on people. Know for sure, if a refutation was put out, something was being done 10 years prior. Trust me. If a refutation was put out by Sheikh Rabir on anybody, know for sure over a decade of nonsense was going on, and he was just being patient trying to hide it before we start running our mouths on YouTube or on these Instagrams thinking we know everything. Rather, the Sheikh showing mercy to people before he issues the refutation. And the same thing goes to these relationships. Know for sure if the sister been doing it now, more than likely she's been doing it for a minute. The problem is that we have to show mercy to show people, to stop them from doing it, because this is not the first time that this ever happened, and this is the reason why we have to show mercy and display mercy. And don't call people, say, oh yo, my wife, man, she was in here blasting Beyonce, yo man, this is what I'm talking about with these women. And the same thing sisters shouldn't do with our brothers. This brother was on the phone, this girl, he was on the phone blasting his rappers and he's blasting his music. Man, this is what I'm talking about with these brothers. They shot out, they want to act like they all righteous. This is how we treat one another. You embarrass him. Embarrass your spouse. Humiliate him. And humiliate his reputation and her reputation. And we all have to always remember when we were weak. We never remember that. We forget how quick we get amnesia about ourselves. And when we were weak. And how Allah delivered us from our weaknesses. And these are the things we take in consideration before we want to lash out to try to diminish or tarnish someone else and destroy them. And make them feel like they're just the worst person in the world. And it's not the case. It's all in having tact and how to speak to people. To get them to do to actualize the goal, which is to get them to stop doing it. But knowing it how to do where it's acceptable. Where it's done respectfully and with tact and with class. And with evidence and proof. And respectfully done. Without hollering and being offensive and using harsh language. Which would deter the person from accepting the truth. Fine. Another example, third example. And this is what I wanted to get back in regards to our relationships and trying to build a strong foundation. When a lot of us get married, we don't check for compatibility before intimacy. Now, sisters and brothers, or sisters, I want everyone to listen to this. This is not obligatory. So I don't want anyone walking out of this hall saying, Abdur-Razzaaq said it's obligatory to do. No, this is not obligatory, what I'm about to say. But I notice it does help a lot for people that do this. It's just a suggestion. No more, no less. Now listen. Trying to check for compatibility before intimacy in a marriage. And I know some sisters, I just can't do it. I'm just hot. By all means, if you're a lustful person, do what you have to do. As far as keeping it halal. I'm not talking about before the marriage. I'm talking about after the marriage. If a person is young, youthful, lustful, and you feel they're going to fall into haram, by all means, consummate the marriage if you think you're going to fall into something haram. It's better for you to consummate the marriage, be intimate with a man that's halal for you, and then it end up in divorce, then you fornicated. By all means. No doubt. That's the reality. It is what it is. But now, let's get back to the higher ground of trying to save a marriage. It's trying to build it off of something strong. And something that's considered, like I said in the beginning of the lecture, hard work. What's the hard work? Now, this is the type of hard work that people are not willing to do in their relationships. Showing whether or not a person is compatible before the intimacy. A lot of people can't do it. This is just my opinion, and it's just something of a suggestion based on research and experience. When some of us are married, we are now. This is the reality in our land we're in. We're complete strangers when we marry a lot of these brothers and sisters. Even though we might have a sit down once, twice, okay, seems like a good brother, but ultimately you don't know him. He doesn't know you. So we're complete strangers. Many of our sisters do not have a wali from their family to represent them, so they can give a better picture so the brother or the sister can know who they're marrying. It's in real rare circumstances. So now the woman doesn't feel protected, and often they're too shy to say how they feel or ask meaningful questions in a sit down, because they're around complete strangers. If people can get married and have patience to get to know each other before consummating, this is my opinion again. Due to the fact of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, which is al-Bukhari, that we know the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ clearly said that you do not know a person until you eat with them, of course, travel with them and spend some time with them. When it says in the hadith sleeping, meaning sleeping as far as in their travels, but sleeping with them in the same room, but it doesn't necessitate intimacy. If they can implement this hadith, this will help them to see if they are truly ready. Why? What happens in our communities in our societies here, a woman usually get married, pregnant either the first night, pregnant the first week, pregnant the first 2 weeks, pregnant the first 3 weeks, maybe pregnant the first month. Then after the intimacy is over and the baby is coming, here come the arguments. You truly find out in reality we're not compatible. Me and you aren't compatible. So now the situation is exacerbated, and now it's a whole another a mountain of drama now, where now the woman's pregnant. Now we're building up for another broke family. we built up. We just now fell into another trap to build another broke family. And this is the chain of what's going on and on and on and on and on. That's the reason why I said in the beginning of the lecture, there's something that's more intriguing. When a man is intrigued by you mentally, the intimacy will be better, because now a man can feel and sleep or be intimate with a woman that I know at the end of the day, this woman is a good quality woman, that I feel pleased and honored that she will have my child. I feel pleased and honored that this woman is going to pass on good manners to my child. Because this is how I think when I marry a woman. After the intimacy, I'm thinking, that she got good manners, she's going to pass that same thing on to my child. Does she have the same religion and the good uprightness and that mental keenness and sharpness and integrity and honor? She's going to pass those same things on to my children. This is how people think. After the intimacy, we know, and women can vouch for me when I say this. Men only think clearly after the first intimacy is over. Then he thinks straight. Then he starts to get a reality check. Hey, is this woman really a good quality woman that I should be having children by or not? Because that's truly how I think. What else does she got to offer other than just her body to keep me intrigued by her? So maybe if this marriage is long, when we're in our 50s and 60s, I'm still saying, look at my wife, she's decent. Even though might be intimate as we used to be when we were younger, but at the end, I know that woman is an excellent, good quality woman, and I would never want no other man to have her, because she got something more special than just what's between her legs. She has a mind, a brain. She has respect. She has manners. She knows how to interact with people, know how to speak to people. That intrigues a man. That makes a man feel proud to say, man, I'm glad that woman is my wife. I'm glad and I'm honored to say that's my wife. And a man that sees honor a woman, he's going to honor her. Even if he feels he's a bad person and he thinks that, well, I'm buck. And if he leaves, he's still going to leave in a manner still to show her respect. If he feels he cannot continue the marriage along with her. Because it's not her, it's him. It might be in a situation where it's him. But I need to get myself together. You're too honorable and too of a good woman for me to stay with you. I got to get myself together. But I'm not going to hurt you. I'm going to make sure you're straight. Meaning that he knows you're honorable, so he's going to honor you. But a woman that's other than that, I'm sure you see what's going on in our communities. Which is self-explanatory. So what I'm saying is, in order to attain this, when a man, you display this type of behavior in a relationship, when you show integrity and respect for yourself, often relationships people don't get to know each other enough to build a strong foundation and basis. Everything is based, like we said, for physical attraction. Our lust begins to cloud our better judgment. So we just fall in love with the physical aspect of the marriage. However, we're not building anything to help the marriage survive. Meaning that hard work that I just said, and I keep repeating that over and over again because I'm breaking down the meaning of this hard work statement in marriage. What's the hard work? The hard work, number one, is to get inside your spouse's mind. Vice versa. Not letting the body and the physical attraction cloud your better judgment. Getting into the mental. Like we said, women and men can vouch for it. The women and men that had me on a twist that really messed me up is the woman that got in my head. Or I got inside of her, or the woman said the man that got into my head. He got in my head. And even after the divorce is over, he's still in your head. Because mental stimulation is something greater. Religiously and mental is something deeper. It's way deep. And when you get that, and on top of that, add the physical attraction, that is the most ultimate enjoyment and delight. To know that I have good quality woman mentally and religiously, and maybe I'm attracted to her physically also. That's the greatest of enjoyment and delight. But to attain, firstly, the mental aspect to see if that's straight is where we don't want to put that hard work in to help the relationship survive for longevity. We don't want to put that hard work in. I want instant gratification now. My desires is overwhelming me. I just want to cool off. Then, like we said, due to the fact us not laying down the foundation, we ultimately find afterwards that the spouse is not compatible. When we should have found that out before. So sisters now get pregnant in these first stages of the marriage, and then, like we said, we lead up to just building a bunch of broke families in the end. So patience begins to run out. Both parties, they want to separate. Now there's a child in the middle. And I've seen this countless numbers of times. So how are we going to stop it? How are we going to stop it? Is getting to know each other, mental stimulation, religious stimulation, doing those type of affairs is way greater than physical, because the physical aspect eventually is going to fizzle out. I'm trying to tell you. It's going to fizzle out. Not totally, but it will diminish. And Allah has created men different ways. Some men get bored. Some men just created a man. I like you, alhamdulillah, but the new prayers out there, for the lack of better words. Certain people get bored. So this is the reason why I'm saying to sisters, you have to find something that's going to keep him intrigued about you. Because the physical is going to fizzle out. And you have to have something that stands out about you, that makes him proud to say, that's my wife. Not just on the physical aspect, to say, mashallah, she's a respectable woman. My mom likes to speak to her. She knows how to speak. She knows how to express herself. She knows how to show respect. She has class. She's clean. She always takes showers, baths. And I have to say this because we live in days and times people don't even like to physically be clean anymore. And that's the truth. She's clean. She knows how to be a lady, but she knows how to be assertive. She just puts everything in the proper place when it needs to be done. That intrigues a man. So when now the actual intimacy dies down, he can still say, this is still an honorable woman. I still love her. Even though the sex might not be, excuse me, I'm sorry to use this. The intimacy might not be the way high when we were younger. It might have died down a bit. But at the end of the day, ultimately, that I have something greater. That was going to allow our marriage to be longevity. And a lot of times when a man is turned on mentally with a woman, he will love her and want to be intimate with her even more. And that happens a lot. And I'm the first man to say that explicitly. When you're mentally intrigued by a woman, you will want to be with her. You want to be around her. You want to listen to what she has to say. And you know she's not saying it based upon nonsense and based upon her desires. You know she's a good woman, and she's saying it because she's giving you actually good advice. You want to hang around her. You want to be around her. You want to listen and give her attention to what she has to say because you value her opinion. These are the things that keep men intrigued, and these are the things that is considered hard work in relationships that we need to have, or else it's not going to last long. This is the hard work in which I'm saying that a lot of people are not willing to put in. And they're not willing to put in the mental stimulation or the religious stimulation, or a lot of things in which we're going to talk about also pertaining to what? Sacrifice, and not being tit for tat, which is the last part of the lecture I'm about to talk about. Tit for tat. That's another thing, being a headache, being a pain. Showing the husband that you can't sometimes tackle things with your own without always calling him all the time for everything. Every little minute, calling him. What do I do? Your brother looking at you, dad, sister, you have your own mind? You know how to deal with it? So now the second thing I want to get into. Being tit for tat, petty. That's another hard work that a lot of people are not willing to put in, meaning avoid, in order was considered from the aspect of hard work to allow the marriage to last long. What they call being tit for tat. Everything tit for tat. If he ain't doing this, I ain't doing it for him either. Well, he ain't doing it for me, I ain't doing it for him either. She ain't doing it for me, I ain't doing it either. Well, she ain't doing that Jahiliyyah hellfire mentality. That's what I call it. The Jahiliyyah hellfire mentality that we carried on before we Muslim in Islam. Because that's not from Salafiyah to act like that. That's from satanic Jahiliyyah hellfire. That's it. Let's call it what it is. She ain't doing that, I ain't doing it. Forget her. He ain't doing it for me. Who you think he is? And I hear how these women talk, and you be like, subhanAllah, I'm just hurt. That's how they speak. Like, what? So the tit for tat thing. Now listen to this. Sisters have an important role in our community. Fundraising, teaching new Muslims how to pray, sew, attending classes, teaching your children. Sisters wear many hats, in which I consider. I know what's going on. These sisters are going through a lot. I know it's hard. However, sisters often allow the state of their marriage to affect the interaction with the community. They do. Some of us fall into envying other women because they think that they have a better marriage. Again, they don't know the hard work and sacrifice that they put off to let their marriage what? Be so longevity. They don't know the hard work in which I'm discussing right now. This is the hard work. So now when we don't have that same grass that's green, we want to be envious. Man, they've been married for 40 years. You see how they smiling and kissing, how he shows her so much respect, and how he's always having his arms around her. He just loves her so much. Yeah, but you don't know how much of an honorable woman he probably has and what she does to sacrifice in order to get him to be intrigued by her so he can truly earn her love, so she can truly earn his love. And this is what I'm talking about right here. So now avoiding the masjid because you'll find that sister now they're avoiding the masjid because we got it now. A lot of us, she got a new co-wife. I got a new co-wife, so she is avoiding the masjid now. New co-wife, and I've heard the stories about women fighting. I've heard, trust me, I'm abreast to what's going on. I've been in this now almost from to maybe 20-some years now. Trust me, I've heard it all. I've heard more than an earful. Although marriage is important, an important aspect of our lives, of our religion, we know it's the half of our religion, no doubt. We all share the same responsibility to make sure our communities grow. As Muslims, we must remember Islam brings two individuals together to comfort one another and bring the best out of one another, not the worst out of one another. Bring the best out of one another throughout life, and love and mercy and taqwa, of course. Muslim couples are not supposed to become union like the Christians. Union that is a Christianity, that's a Christian type of way. The point, sometimes couples have to separate to play their roles as individuals in our community if it need be, no doubt. We're not union of Christians, it's a Christian type of methodology, which we know opposes our religion. However, just listen. This is the example in the sacrifices of not being tit for tat and what I'm talking about right now. If your husband is, just for example, now it's many examples, as I don't have a lot of examples. I don't have enough time to give the example. Let's just say your husband is a great plumber, and at the masjid needs to have the bathroom fixed on date night. Because I hear that's the new thing. Everybody likes to have date night with their husbands, family night, date night, whatever. So sister, why don't you look at the blessing that you're going to get from him fixing the bathroom in the house of Allah? No, what a lot of us would say is date night. I don't care. It's date night. So can you imagine, sister, the blessings you're going to receive for your patience? So going back to Surah Al-Asr again, what tawasaw bis-sabr. Do we apply it now here? We're applying it. Here's the time to apply the ayah. They advise one another with patience. So you can imagine the blessings you're going to receive for your patience. If your wife needs to prepare food, for example. Now let's switch to the roles as far as with the women. Now even with brothers, your wife needs to prepare food for the sick sisters. Feed the elderly sisters. Make sure they're straight. She might come home exhausted. And the brother get an attitude where he'll call on the phone hollering at her, why you ain't here yet? Where my food at? And you know your wife was doing something virtuous. Why can't you leave her alone? Brother, make a sandwich and let her relax. She did a noble act that if you're patient, you're going to receive the blessing for the work that she did, and you didn't even do it. But we don't look at it like that. I want my gratification now. I want my sacrifice. No, I want my time now. She's supposed to be in the house making food. That's how we are. And that's the reason why our marriages and the hard work is gone. There's no hard work. The Sahabiyat, you'll find a lot of the stories of the Sahabiyat who used to cure and nurse the sick in battlefields. In battlefields. You think that do you think that a man now that's trying to make the kalima, the word of Allah, pushing Tawheed to be spread, that one of the Sahabiyat was going to really have a certain attitude in the house is date night. My husband need to come home. Or she know that my husband's on the battlefield for Allah. He's sacrificing his soul for Allah to Tawheed and make war with shirk and put it to death. Put shirk to be eradicated on this earth. He's doing something noble. And my husband is putting his life for that. But a lot of us, the way our mentality is, we will have an attitude home saying, this is my time. It's date night. He's supposed to be here. Sister, he's doing something of a noble cause. I don't care. This is my time. This is the hard work that I keep saying. In order to keep our relationships and a man to love you. If you see that you are sacrificing, saying, babe, go out, fix the masjid, do what you got to do. Wallahi, brothers and sisters, this will make a man love you more and have more respect for you. And it will grow the love. But when you're now pain, no, you're supposed to be in a house. So now he's just going to make it a chore. And he's turned off now. Because I'm telling you how I would feel if a woman did that. It's just going to be a chore now. I don't even want to be here. It's like, my mind is out of it. I just want to get this over with now. This is how men think. Why? Because I'm a man. I'm turned off now. And so in your mind, you're just keeping your mouth shut, knowing in your back of your mind you turned off. I'm turned off now because I wanted to do something noble for Allah. And you really want to have date night. Really? I wanted to do something to help our community move forward, and you wanted to have date night. Really? I wanted to do something now to help our children to have a school, to have good qualified people so they could get proper education, and you wanted to do all that because this is my time and this is my right now. Really? So now it's become a chore in the man. In the back of his mind, it's like, oh man, let's get this over with. He might not say it verbally, but in his mind, he's like, let's get this over with. All right, what's your time? Okay, what you want to do? But in the back of his mind, he's like, I'm so turned off right now. So I like to see couples coming together to aid the many seniors in our communities, the seniors, the poor. Because a lot of these now, we're at the level where we see a lot of our elders, they're staying in Christian orphanage, or we're staying in these shelters of Christians. This is embarrassing. Communities feeding the elderly, feeding the homeless, teaching our young girls and boys. But we're not able to do this unless we're willing to put in the hard work that I've been talking about this whole hour. Enduring love, doing this in helping one another in the path of Allah will create strong, enduring love and merciful bond between husband and wife. Look at the bond between Muhammad and Khadijah. When the Prophet ﷺ sacrificed, Khadijah just held it down for him, held it down. Oh, there was no woman that held it down that we see. After all the righteous women of date, from all the righteous women, from all the other prophets, similar to who's at the top of them was Khadijah, our mother. Held it down for the Prophet ﷺ. When he went out to sacrifice, do you really think Khadijah was sitting there like, this is date night, this is my time? Knowing in the back of her mind the greater mission that he was setting out for, to change the whole life of earth. That was in her mind. To change the whole life and rectify the whole nations of the whole earth. That was her mind, that I want the reward. What happened when Khadijah did that sacrifice? What happened, brothers and sisters? Jibreel, the angel Jibreel, came down to the Prophet ﷺ and said, tell Jibreel that Allah and me gives her salams. Tell Khadijah that. And the Prophet ﷺ told Khadijah what Jibreel said. Because she couldn't see him. Sacrifice, hard work. Are we ready to do that? We ready to bend? We ready to stop being tit for tat? It's my night. It's my time. It's my right. Well, no sacrifice. So that's what I'm saying. You want a strong marriage where a man is intrigued with you and he loves you after 40 or 50 years? These are the steps to take in order to what? To attain that. Are we ready? But now we're impressed by these non-Muslims. We're impressed. You know what the first thing that come out of our mouths? Beyonce, Jay-Z. Really? They changed the whole earth? Really? Barack Obama and Michelle? Really? Or Muhammad or Khadijah? Who's better? Huh? Prophet ﷺ and Khadijah rectified the dunya. Rectified the dunya. And it's still rectifying the dunya. So let your goals and your moods, sisters, be established to establish great Muslim families and ultimately communities. Let's stop chasing of what non-Muslims are doing. We have the best examples of mankind with blueprints. We have the blueprint to it. To follow. And we still pretend and want to be blind like we don't see it. And wonder why we aren't successful. True love is in the pleasure of Allah and understanding that Salafis are on. Your families go way behind your husband's sisters and your kids. For your family, it goes way behind the husband. And your kids, your family, and the Muslims, it goes on to that extent too, in establishing the community. And hoping for a better future and going beyond just your husband. But establishing something better. That's going to be everlasting. It's going to have a longevity. In which a lot of people are not willing to put the hard work in order to attain. And this is what I meant to conclude when I said, how was y'all together for 40 or 50 years and y'all still love one another? Hard work. What is the meaning of the hard work? Put in between those lines everything I just said in this whole lecture. My husband got to know me in my mental state. My husband intrigues me because he wanted to know me in my mental. He wanted to know me religiously. He wanted to know who I was as a person. He got in my mind, my head. And I respect him for that. He didn't care just how big or wide my hips were, or how big or how this was on my body. That wasn't it. My husband got in my mind, and I got in his mind. I got in his head. And like I told you, these are the hard work that we're not willing to put into our relationships. And like I said, when a man sees a woman got class, she carries herself like a lady. She knows how to talk to people. She knows how to have respect. She knows how to deal with people. She knows how to be kind. She knows how to be assertive when she needs to be assertive. She knows how to put everything in its proper place. She's always smelling good when you smell her. She's always keeping her body clean. She's always having this classy lady. She knows when to put fire in her husband behind in a respectable manner. And ultimately, a man respects that. In the end, he will be intrigued by it. When the sexual desires sometimes die down from time to time. And he will ultimately love her and give her the respect and honor she deserves. But when now you're pain, constantly always getting him mad, getting him frustrated, getting upset, it's going to get to the point the man's going to be like, I just can't wait until I'm out of the life with this woman. It's too much. And all brothers here shaking their head like, yep. Hit it right on the head. This is the reason why we have to now start having classes with what? Not new shahadas, but we have to start teaching our communities. We really have to have classes to teach people how men to be men and women to be ladies. It's sad, but that's the reality. Because a lot of people truly don't know. Women do not know how to be a lady. They don't know how to be a classy lady. They don't know. They think being mean and gritting on people and clucking their head and talking like that, that's being ladylike. It's not. It's a turnoff. And it turns a man off. And then you wonder why you don't have longevity in the marriage. And we'll stop here, inshallah. And like I said, this is the angle where I wanted to come and to tackle, where, inshallah, I hope it will be beneficial, where we can start now with a beginning, where we can start teaching our society and our community of how to carry themselves in the manner of how Allah created them, where a man is a man and a female is a female, or a lady is a lady. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وأشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Inshallah, we're going to have a 5-minute break, and then our brother Anwar Wright will begin his talk. Inshallah, he will begin within the next 5 minutes. Inshallah ta'ala.